Hey everyone, I am Robin the Copy Bitch. This is Stewie, my sidekick sloth, and today we are going to talk about how to be a good copywriter. Now, it might seem like an odd topic to talk about. It probably seems like self-evident to a lot of people who are copywriters, but people are searching on how to be a good copywriter, so we are going to discuss it because I get it. You might think, hey, I want to really wow my clients. I want to be the best out there. What do I have to do that? So I don't think I'm going to be talking about anything all that earth-shattering in this video, but I think we're going to hit on 10 points or so that I want you to keep in mind and to really embrace, because this is what's going to make the difference between a meh or a meh copywriter as opposed to a great copywriter or a very good copywriter. Okay, so let's get to it. Number one, you want to be a reader. You want to read generally and you want to read specifically. And what I mean by that is you can't be a good writer, period, if you're not a good reader. That's true if you want to be a fiction writer or a copywriter or a journalist. I don't care what sort of writing is. You have to love to read and you have to read. Now, I'm not saying you have to read Tolstoy or Proust or, all the classics and write a dissertation on those things. Did I say Proust right? Is it Proust or Proust? I don't even know. But you do need to read and read widely. That's number one. Number two, you also want to read specifically. And what I mean is you want to follow the blogs and the publications that talk about search engine optimization, that talk about copywriting, that talk about marketing and industry trends. You want to pay attention to things that are happening in this space because things are changing quickly, especially with AI and ChatGPT. So you want to make sure you are following those things and keeping up and reading. So if you're not into reading, but you love writing, that's probably not a thing, because usually people who love to write love to read and vice versa. So if for some reason you haven't been reading as much as you know you should, try to get back in the habit. Subscribe to some blogs. Try to make it a habit every morning where you spend 30 minutes and you just buzz through the blogs that you're following specifically about copywriting and marketing topics. Just get into the habit, build that muscle memory, and that will help you definitely elevate from a meh copywriter to a good copywriter. So do that. That's step number one. Step number two, you want to learn how to conduct research quickly. And I know that can be overwhelming when you're first getting started, if you're given a blog topic, or maybe you're juggling like a blog post and a white paper and something else you have to research. It can get overwhelming really fast. That's why you want to take that step back and figure out how to become a good researcher, how to conduct research quickly and accurately. There are definitely sources for that, and I'll see if I can find some and I'll link to them below. I'm sure HubSpot has some on how to write and research blog posts. So I will see if I can find that article for you, because I feel like I've read that before, and I will link to it below. But just get into the habit of doing that. Conducting research is so much more than just going to Google and putting in a prompt and taking the first stuff that shows up. That's very basic, lazy. You can, if you're not familiar with it, in Google, when you Google something, there's an advanced tools tab. You want to get used to using that and putting in filters so that it can help target your search, your research much more quickly. ChatGPT actually can be a place, and I'm going to be doing a video about ChatGPT soon, probably several videos, and you can use that as a place to conduct that initial research as well. So, and ChatGPT is like Google on steroids. So just get in the habit of figuring out how to do searches, how to do it quickly and accurately. And you always, of course, want to use reputable sources and use good primary sources and secondary sources. And I actually have a blog and video about that, which I'll link to below. So if that's helpful, you can look at that. All right, that was number two. Okay, number three, be pleasant to work with. It's amazing to me how there are lots of copywriters out there, but they might actually do okay work, but they're either not pleasant to work with or they don't make deadlines, or both. If you can be those three things, someone who does good work and is pleasant to work with and can make deadlines, like right away, that just elevates you above so many copywriters out there. Because, and I get it, I think with writers, a lot of us are, wanting to do the fiction, or we consider ourselves artistes, and we're not always good with the details, or at least that's, how the stereotype goes. You have to be good with the details, so don't let someone convince you that because you're a writer, you can't, pay attention to your calendar and deadlines. You need to. I mean, this is a business and people are relying on you to get the blog post or the white paper or the set of emails or the newsletter, whatever it is. So you need to meet deadlines and you need to be pleasant to work with. Now, we all have bad days, right? Even you, Stu Boo. And I get it, that happens, but try to keep that outside of your interactions with your clients and don't let it seep over into your emails. And I know sometimes the lines can be blurry because sometimes clients will become friends or you connect on social media. Just be careful. Try to have that little inner circle of people you trust who you can vent to, like a partner or, someone, a best friend, and focus any sort of vents about work to them and try to keep it away from clients. You just want to be pleasant. Put on that good, happy face. It's a business relationship. They don't need to know about the drama going on in your life, even if they seem like they're friends. They're clients first. So just make sure you keep that in mind. Was that 3 and 4? Hold on. We'll need to check this. Okay, so number 4, I think that's what we're at. You want to always under-promise and over-deliver. And I can't stress this enough. I know you want to wow clients out of the gate and you might say, oh yeah, I can deliver that in 48 hours. Don't. Resist that temptation. Be like, yep, I can get that to you, a week from now or 2 weeks from now. And the reason why, there are a few reasons. First of all, you don't want to seem overeager. You don't want a client to think that you have nothing else going on. And thirdly, something could come up that could disrupt that wonderful 48-hour turnaround that you're going to promise. And it could just be something in your life, or you might realize that the project is more complicated than you were expecting. Something always comes up. So you always want to, even if you feel like, you know what, I can do this in a week, say 2 weeks, okay? Just do that. Trust me on this. And here's the thing, if you get it done in a week, let's say you said it was due in 2 weeks and you actually do have it done in a week, then you can send it and then you look like the rock star because you beat the deadline. So again, always under promise and over deliver. It's just a great way to do things and you will always look good if you do that. So that's a recommendation. Okay, number 5, I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to deliver error-free, accurate copy. Don't plagiarize. I shouldn't have to say that. Here's the thing with plagiarism. I think sometimes people aren't necessarily trying to plagiarize. I mean, yes, you have some folks who are actually blatantly trying to plagiarize, but I think sometimes people get confused as to what is plagiarism. And when you're doing a ton of research, it can be really easy to be like, grab something from this website, grab something from that website, whatever, and forget to do the attribution. So you just need to be careful because anything you copy from another site, another, article, you want to make sure you have quotes around direct quotes and that you give proper attribution. And you want to be mindful about how much you're copying. Like you can't copy half a page, even with the attribution, okay? Because now you're getting into problematic areas. But if you're quoting, a quote or a piece, a short, couple sentences from the New York Times or from whatever it is, NBCnews.com or whatever the website is, you want to make sure that you have proper attribution and then you have quotes around things. So just make sure you are mindful of that. And if you don't know the difference or how to cite sources or things like that, I'll see if I can find a link and put it in the description, but you can also Google and find that out. But you should definitely, make sure you understand the tenets of proper attribution. And typos do happen occasionally, but you want to be delivering error-free work. And when I do like a blog post or white paper, I'll write it in Word and I no longer trust Word's, I've never really, I used to trust the spell check much more than I do now. Now I do not at all because it's trying too hard, I think, to be like Google. So I will write it in Word and then I will take that copy and upload it as a Google Doc. And I have on Grammarly. Grammarly is a good thing that you should use too because that catches a lot of mistakes. And just doing that alone catches so much stuff that Microsoft Word did not catch. So I always kind of double, it's extra work, but I'll write it in Word, I proof it thoroughly there, but then I upload it to Google Docs and then I do a final sweep and usually a final 2 sweeps. And another trick that I do, and I have a video about this, I'll link to it, is I will highlight the whole document in yellow highlight because sometimes just making that change helps your eyes see something that I kept glossing over because your eyes just got so used to it and seeing it with a mistake. So, and you know what, typos do still happen. It will happen, but you need to be mindful and try to avoid that. Triple check, quadruple check. If you know that spelling is not your strong suit and things like that, and you make errors, see if you can, find someone in your life who is a good editor, who maybe is willing to proofread your work, especially in those early stages or when you're working with a new client for the first time. Okay, so there you go. Okay, number 6, you want to always keep learning. This kind of goes with number 1 about being a reader and reading specifically about copywriting. You want to learn about what you're doing. Things change a lot. And I think it's just going to get faster with machine learning and AI. You definitely want to keep your finger on that pulse. So follow ChatGPT, because it is going to affect what we do as copywriters, whether we like it or not. Follow marketing blogs, follow trends. So take webinars, learn new things, make sure you are staying up with things. Don't be afraid of learning. Learning doesn't stop, obviously, ever. The most successful people are constantly learning. So make sure you keep doing that. That's definitely going to elevate your copywriting game. Number 7, don't be afraid of playing devil's advocate. I know you might not be comfortable doing this when you're first starting out, but when you're working with clients, especially if they become long-term clients and they're going down a road that you just disagree with, and I'm not talking about ethically, but maybe they're all excited about doing this project or white paper or changing their website, and you're like, they don't really need to do that. And you have a good reason, compelling reason why. Speak up. I have a client who says, like, you've saved us so much money over the years because I'm always playing devil's advocate, and as the client said, I've saved them from themselves. And sometimes it happens, like you're so close to your business and they're really excited about something and they want to do it, and it's like, whoa, let's talk this through. And clients aren't always going to agree with you, but at least if you speak up, you're showing another viewpoint, and then they obviously get the final call. But then if somewhere down the road they should have followed your advice, they're going to realize that, and they might listen to you more the next time. So don't be afraid to do that. I'm not saying be a contrarian, but speak up. Don't just accept a project and be like, yep, I'm going to go do this. Like, if there's a better way to do something, or if there's a better solution, even if it means taking money away from you off the table, because you're saying, hey, instead of doing this white paper, I think we should do a blog post and it costs less, do it, because in the long run, it's actually going to help the client and they're going to want to use you more. So that's my philosophy anyway. All right, learn your strengths and lean into them. Are you really great with subject lines, really great with email copy? Are you just like a really awesome blogger? Like, focus on finding more of those clients. On the flip side, know what your weaknesses are and be mindful of them. Are you always making a certain mistake in your copy, or maybe you have certain crutch phrases? Learn what they are and, then weed them out. Or if there's a mistake you always make, like lie, lay, lane, lay, I can't use those correctly to save my life, no matter how many times I look them up. So I either don't use them, or when I do, I have an ace editor in my life who I can show the stuff to. I mean, he's a journalist, so he can always guide me as to whether I have it right or not. Just, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Pretty basic, but important, especially when you're a copywriter. Okay, number 9, learn how to ask for feedback. Like, legit, that's hard. Like, learn how to ask for it and be open to getting it, and learn how to accept it. And when you're asking for feedback, it's not a matter of just saying, I'd like some feedback on this. You need to be specific as to what you're looking for. And I think that's the problem with feedback, is sometimes we really do want feedback, but we might not want feedback on everything. It's just like a certain specific area. Well, be clear about that. Be like, you know what? Sometimes I'll say this to people who are reviewing my work. I'm like, I'm just looking for a catastrophic edit. Like, capture the typos, anything that's really unclear. I'm not interested in your comments on the tone or things like that. Not because I'm not interested. I just might not be interested or have the time to deal with that, even though there might be something legit, or maybe they would have written it differently. Like, okay, we might be past that point. So be specific. And then there are going to be times where you're like, I do want, feedback on the tone, or I want feedback on the direction. Does this outline make sense? So just get in the habit of being very, very specific and clear about the feedback you want, and then you need to be open about accepting it. And that can be hard. And the biggest piece of advice I can give with getting feedback is just to, the person who gives it to you, just say thank you. Say, thank you, you made some really good points. Leave it at that. Do not defend, do not argue. If you're comfortable and legitimately feel safe with the person and you're asking because you really are curious, be like, hey, this is really great, this point you made, can you clarify a little bit more? If you're at that point in accepting feedback and receiving feedback, you can go down that road. But until you're at that point, I just say thank you and leave it at that. Because you need to then walk away and be pissed off if you're, annoyed by the feedback that you asked for, but that happens because we're human and we're writers. And then you need to sleep on it, and then you need to go back and look at it, and more than likely the person will probably have at least a couple points that are fair. And then you have to look at, okay, am I going to make some changes based on this or what? And that's a whole different topic, but you need to start getting, clients will give you feedback too. So it's important to ask for it, it's important to be specific, it's important to try to accept it, it's important to be graceful and gracious, and it's hard. It's a big feedback's a hard thing. Giving it, accepting it, all that. So try to start practicing that, because that's going to elevate you as a copywriter as well. I think we're on to number 10. Yay! You want to strive for a work-life balance, and this is advice I wish I had gotten a long time ago. And you know what? I probably did get the advice a long time ago. And when you're starting out, I get it. You're hungry. You might be like literally hungry, and you're just working all the time. You do need that work-life balance. I'm 50 now, so I'm actually looking for ways to work less, like make more money, work less, take Fridays off. I'm at a different point, and I get that. If you're starting out and you're in your mid-20s or your 30s, I was all gung-ho too, but you still need work-life balance. And like, you need to walk away from the computer. You need to get outside. You need fresh air. You need exercise. You need to eat well. So all those things still apply, even when you're running your own freelance writing business. So I know that this piece of advice might be just like, going right over your head, but try to at least, I'm planting the seed, try to at least, work on the work-life balance and embrace that. So there you go. How to be, and it will make you a better copywriter. Like if you have a weekend off and you start it up on Monday, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to do better work. You're going to write better. You're going to feel more excited, more invigorated. So it does make you a better copywriter when you pay attention to your own self-care and your needs. Okay? Okay. So there you have it. I think that was 10 ways, right? 10 ideas for how to be a good copywriter. Could I make this video any longer? Probably, yeah, okay. Anyhow, I hope you did find this video helpful and that some of the ideas resonated. If you did like it, please give us a thumbs up because that helps us out. My name is Robin. I am the Copy Bitch. This is Stewie, my sidekick sloth. We do lots of videos like this, so if you are a budding copywriter, consider subscribing, and we will see you next time.